Pinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
and take us along with you. Feedback.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of W33BY, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out, and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
I was wondering what our engineer was going to say. This morning he says, we are live. We are all the way live. Well, and happy to be right here on WHPR this Monday morning. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Theo Broughton. I'm co-founder of Hood Research and my co-host.
The BD, and we welcome you to the program.
And today I would like to say that we appreciate all of you who make donations to help sponsor this program. And if there's anyone else tuned in who would like to do the same, please make your check or money order out to Hood Research. Or if you prefer, you can make your check or money order out to WHPR Broadcasting Company. We have no objection to that. But what we would ask is that you mail it to Hood Research at P.O. Box 4416, P.O. Box 4416, Detroit, Michigan 48204, Detroit, Michigan 48204. We appreciate you for that. And good morning to you. Good morning, Betty. She called last week and told me she tried to get in, but the line was so busy she couldn't get in. I'm like, Betty, start calling now. Good morning to Errol and to Ron and to Sam and Tom and Barbara and Vera. And there's just so many people I saw this past weekend. The open house that the Son of Man and his members had was just excellent. They did a fabulous job, and I want to commend them for that. And thank you to all of you who brought some diaper wipes, handy wipes that we're going to take to Flint, Michigan for the residents there. We're not going to drop them off at the fire station. We're not going to drop them off at the police station. We're not dropping them off at the gas station. We're going to take them to the residents, put them in their hands. And we appreciate your donations for that effort. Kaviti.
Yes, we'd also like to welcome Cheryl D., Jackie, both Jackies, Brother Smith Bay, Brother Fred, Sheila R., and as always, I ask you to have your friends, neighbors, co-workers to tune in and have pen and paper ready for valuable information you may want to record.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say good morning to Michelle and to Dr. Dillard as well. There have been so many things going on down at City Council, and we have invited Councilman Gabe Leland to join us this morning so he can share some of the information with us and with you. Thank you, Councilman, for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us first of all, who is Gabe Leland?
That's a great question. Ms. Brown, I've been following you during your career for a long time, and whether it's been at the party or in the community, we thank you for all that you do for the city of Detroit. You're a strong voice and a strong advocate for many, and it's just a blessing. Working with you, at the party and or in the community, it's just been a true pleasure. So, started off with a good question this morning.
Gabe Leland.
Who is Gabe Leland? Well,
Thank you for the compliments too.
I'm a councilman here in the city of Detroit. And I love the city, and we have a lot of work to do. There are a number of issues in the community that we have to make sure that we focus on and don't turn our heads from. And so I'm about helping people with everyday issues. I'm about making sure that there is an improved quality of life in our neighborhoods, and it's something that myself and my staff is dedicated to every single day. And so we answer our phones 24 hours a day at 224-2151. Specifically, I represent District 7, which is quite a large district on the west side of the city of Detroit. But I represent the city as well. It's one big city, and we're working together on a number of initiatives that help in quality of life. And so I wanted to just take a moment to talk about the tax foreclosure prevention.
Oh, okay, but wait, before you get there, were you raised in Detroit?
So I was born in the city,
Oh, okay.
and I lived in Rosedale Park,
Oh, okay.
a great neighborhood. I have a lot of memories growing up in that neighborhood, and I split time between Lansing and Detroit. Of course, my heart is here in the city. I was born in the city. I love the city, and I feel as though I grew up full time in the city just because of the connection that I have with my father, being involved in politics for many years, and us being fully involved in district activities.
Yeah.
And
Did he
so
did he drag you in it kicking and screaming into politics?
this was my decision.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I said,
Just
I
checking.
watched my parents help people all of my life, and they were an inspiration to me. And at some point stepped up, for the duties.
Oh, okay.
But the property tax foreclosure prevention piece to me is passionate because we saw what happened to our communities 10 years ago with the mortgage foreclosure. And some rules changed so that if you owe back taxes from 3 years ago, you can have your property taken from you because of foreclosure. But I'm here to say, government, we do not want these properties. Whether it's city, county, state, federal, we want people to stay in their homes.
Right.
We saw what the tax and the mortgage foreclosure did 10 years ago to our communities. Where the homes went vacant,
Yes.
and the scrappers moved in, and the homes were gutted, and that while that's still occurring, that's slowed down a bit. But the programs that my office and I have held around the city of Detroit through our Defend Our Neighbors campaign have been very powerful. It's important, that as rules change, at the state, city and county level, that residents are up to date on these changes. And so this coming Wednesday, over at Evangel Ministries at 13,660 Stansbury, we are hosting a tax foreclosure prevention project with the Coalition of Churches and Communities.
Okay, wait, stop. 13060 Stansbury.
13660 Stansbury.
13660 Stansbury. What is that between? What and what?
It's down the street from the second precinct.
Oh,
So it's
I
close
know
to
what it is.
Grand River and Schaefer.
Yes, yes. I wonder why that address sounded so familiar. I attended a presentation by Dr. Dillard at that church.
Oh, okay.
And it's yes, I know where it is now. Now,
So
what are your boundaries? Just generally, what are your
generally speaking, my boundaries in District 7, they span between Rouge Park to the west,
okay?
up along 96. So that would be my northern
Oh, okay,
border until you
96.
get to about Schaefer, and then I start going north a bit. Uh, but the district goes just to about Dexter to the east.
Wow,
It's a big district.
Dexter.
Yeah. So I have Dexter Davison, I have Russell Woods, I have Aviation Subdivision. And then I go south to essentially to the Dearborn border,
Yes.
and then I head all the way back. But communities
Wow.
like Warrendale, far west, Rouge Park, like I mentioned, Russell Woods, which is
Right.
a district.
That's south of Davidson and east of Livernois. But tell me this: when you say Rouge Park, you don't go all the way to Telegraph?
Um, I will go to West Parkway, which is the
That's
boundary
so weird.
on the other side of the park. Actually,
Yes.
so, some people refer to that as Redford. People sometimes
Yeah,
don't know the connection that
it's
part of that 48239 zip code over there is actually Detroit.
jeez.
And it used to be Copper Canyon, the old neighborhood where you had a number of police officers and firefighters
Yeah,
living.
renting the same apartment. You're right. I remember that.
But we
go ahead.
have to continue to focus on this issue because residents are what make up our neighborhoods. And that's what gives me so much pride about the West Side is we do have a good housing stock over there.
Oh yes.
Beautiful brick homes, and we cannot afford to have our residents go through tax foreclosure. We
Right.
want to help, and city council. I'm stepping up in a big way
Okay.
to say, hey, let's get you in a payment plan. If you owe back taxes from 3 years ago, there's help. We want to help you. We also have a number of exemptions, poverty exemption. If you were a veteran, you can come on Wednesday and learn about veteran assistance.
Okay.
You can get a discount on your trash fee if you're a senior citizen.
Oh, okay.
And, it's a simple application process. The form is, due in July. And if you're a senior citizen in the city of Detroit, there's a discount on that trash fee. You know that little fee that they stick us up on the
$300.
on the tax bill. So
$300.
these are things that can help people stay out of
Foreclosure. Okay. Those are two good reasons. Now, as the exemption, you said, is there a particular time of year they have to apply for that? Not the trash, but the other exemption you spoke about.
So that gets dealt with through the city, through the assessor's office.
Okay.
And there are specific dates that I will make sure that I give to send to you, so that you can
Okay.
discuss
Good on
those
that.
to the readers. But then there's also issues dealing with where you have situations where you feel as though your property has been overassessed. You can challenge,
okay.
the assessed value to the city of Detroit.
Okay.
And that's something that we're also working on to figure out, how do we save our residents and our taxpayers? How do we save them money on in the beginning stages of this?
Right.
So they don't end up in a situation, where they're in tax foreclosure.
Now it's interesting because property taxes are going up now. So how does a homeowner in particular determine what the value of their house is, and what would the steps be or the procedure?
Well, actually, property taxes are actually going down, and so what we realized
I'm
is,
sorry, I meant to say property value is going up, not property taxes.
right. And so it's all based on SEV, and so you take the it's based on a millage process. And the thing about the city of Detroit is, while we do have higher property taxes, the millages that we actually have here in the city, while they're not low, once you start tacking on all of the other fees at
Fees.
the county level,
right.
whether it's the zoo,
Yeah.
the DIA, You have Wayne Risa, which are all great programs. But when you start tacking on, that to the city of Detroit's bill, you start to see the where how that bill, can be unmanageable. What I tell residents is, each of these authorities, they have monthly meetings where they meet as a board. If you feel, like, protesting or giving your peace of mind,
Right.
all of these taxing
Don't I?
authorities, certainly meet quarterly. And so, look, I mean, our voices are strong, right? And I tell people all the time, go advocate, for a cause that you feel passionate for,
Right. Right.
and so, I want to make sure that residents, don't end up in the system,
Oh, okay.
where they're constantly having to be in a situation where they're facing tax foreclosure year after year. Because
Okay.
just as long if you get in a payment program for your 2013 taxes, next year in 17, residents might be facing tax foreclosure for 2014 taxes. So
So
we're
they
trying
go
to kind of stem,
the
that,
tide.
bring some change to the environment, so that residents can get caught up, and a lot of that comes from, the ability to challenge your assessments,
Good point.
going after that, the poverty, exemption. I don't like that word, poverty exemption. I
Yeah,
think
I
we got
know.
to change that.
Yeah, we
Um,
got some callers on the line who want
Certainly.
to ask you a question. Yeah, I do agree with you. Like, yes.
One quick question. You didn't give a time for that meeting this Wednesday at 13660 Stansberry.
We're gonna try to extend this thing as long as possible. So what we have right now is
What-
a window of about 2.5 hours from 5:30 to 8 p.m.
5:30.
5:30
5:38.
p.m. to 8
Okay.
p.m.
Great.
Okay, good.
And again, that's at Stansberry. Please call, reach out, ask questions if you need to. 224-2151, 224-2151.
Okay.
And then also, you can call United Community Housing Coalition, and I know you know Mr. Ted Phillips over there,
Yeah. Okay.
at 313-963-3310, 313-963-3310.
Okay. Now,
And it's this coming week, ladies and gentlemen, Wednesday.
which is what's the date? What's the date?
That would be May 25th.
425. Okay.
Okay.
You can catch the line.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How you're viewing us? What city, please? Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so glad that you have Mr. Leland on.
What's your name?
I just I bought a house. Actually,
What's your name,
it was
please?
my uncle's house.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
We want your name and how you're viewing us.
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Miss Martin. I'm in Detroit, and I'm watching you on the internet.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
You're welcome.
Question.
I'm so glad you have Mr. Leland on. I just bought a house. It was my uncle's house, and he and my aunt both passed away.
Okay.
And so but I'm very familiar with the house and the neighborhood. And I did live in Russell Woods, but I moved. But I wanted to know, do you have plans, or are there plans in the works for neighborhoods that have been really hard hit with blight, to help try to come in and kind of secure and fix up the neighborhoods? This house that I bought is a very nice house, and I'm struggling with really trying to really fix it up the way I want to, because I don't know if this neighborhood is going to remain intact. So
Right.
I was wondering, do you have plans? I look around and I see a lot of forestry everywhere, grass growing, and there's a lot of abandoned houses or burned-out houses. Do you have?
Is it in
and
Russell
I'll tell you
Woods?
the neighborhood that it's in. It's off of Joy Road and Grand River, over in that neighborhood.
Okay.
This was a strong community when I was a child. They used to have block club meetings, and they would have a block club party, and several of the neighbors are still here, and we talk about and remember how it used to be, and we do have an interest in doing this. So I was
Okay.
just wondering, is there a plan to come in and
Let him
try to
answer.
help facilitate and rehab a lot of those types of houses?
Okay, Miss Martin, thanks. Let's let the councilman answer you. Thank you for that
Thank
question.
you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Go ahead.
Thank you. And what a great opportunity to engage the public. And this is such a great time to make investments in our community. You mentioned Russell Woods. Russell Woods is an incredible neighborhood with a lot of history
And a strong association
and a strong association. They actually host a jazz fest
every year.
every year in July, and it's open to everybody.
Yes.
I belong to to the membership there, the Russell Woods Historic Russell Woods and Sullivan Association, and I would like to meet with you, caller, to sit down and to talk about some of the different opportunities that you want to see for the neighborhood
In her area.
in that community. And so, while we do have a number of select programs for neighborhood revitalization, not everybody is able to tap into the 0% loan program. We got rid of the home repair grant, unfortunately, and now what we have is a situation, that you have the ability, based on a number of conditions to qualify for a 0% loan, essentially. And unfortunately, not everybody can apply for that. But I'd like to sit down with you and really, talk about, what some of your ideas are for that community, because certainly I am out there advocating every single day for communities like Russell Woods. I'm fighting with the mayor to, say, let's bring our resources here, whether that's demo, whether that's, reaching out to the foundation community for, for rehab, and other projects. Now, residents do have that ability to go and take advantage of the side lot program, where if there's vacant property,
Next door
to you, across from you, please, for $100, you can get that deed sent to you in the mail the next day. Fence that community.
That's
And
nice.
keep that that property safe from illegal dumping. It gives residents the opportunity to invest in their community.
And there are also opportunities for turning a lot into a grounds for little children with a playscape. So I heard about that at the Bart McFarland meeting this past weekend. Miss Martin, the telephone number for Councilman Gabe Leland is 313-224-2151. That's area code 313-224-2151.
But we have to engage the business community in this too.
Yes.
We have a lot of dilapidated and unoccupied commercial property
That's true.
right in that area that she's speaking of. And how do we work collectively, to repurpose that property, whether that's demo, whether that's bringing in new retailers, into the community, because Detroiters have that spirit of making and selling goods.
That's
And we should
right.
give them opportunities to do that through retail,
That's right.
and other opportunities.
Okay, we have some additional folk on the line who want to ask you a question.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name, how you're viewing us, and what city, please? You're on the air,
This is
caller.
Curtis, and I'm viewing you on Channel 33.
Thank you for calling. Your question?
I was wondering, about these houses that they do foreclose on today and the last 2 and 3 years ago that the city owns and has abandoned themselves. These are the first houses they should have moved in and
demolished.
improved or had somebody cut the grass on.
Oh,
They have not done any of that. And this is not directed at the city council, but when I look at the city of Detroit as a council member, I'm looking at him as representing the whole city. This whole District 7, District 5, and 20 is nothing. You represent the entire city if you own city council. And it's kind of funny to me that they split the city council, they split the city of Detroit, now they want to split the school system. This seems like this is divide and conquer. As
Well,
far as the
it
tax dollars
Curtis.
that they're collecting,
Yeah.
90%,
Hold on.
90%
Curtis.
of the tax dollars they collect is not paid by the downtown residents. It's paid
Right.
by the other
Right.
90%
Hold on.
of the
Thank
residents.
you
What
for
are they
the.
doing with our tax dollars anyway?
Okay. Thank you for the question, Curtis. The issue is, Hood Research fought against districts during that time. Now, all 9 council members represented the whole city of Detroit, and dividing up the city into districts has not benefited us. However, my question is the city has taken some of the properties and then the land bank, correct? Councilman Leland?
Thank you.
The
That's
land bank
correct.
is controlled by the city of Detroit, right?
It is an
No.
authority.
Oh.
They have the city council does have oversight, on the particulars. But we certainly needed an entity to come in and to handle the kind of property that the city has, particularly because of the level of vacancy.
Well,
And
what
so,
is their responsibility when it comes to houses that are in the land bank just sitting there? What is their responsibility?
well, that's a great question, and let me just be clear.
Okay.
I don't sit on the authority.
Oh, okay.
I helped create the transfer of property from the Planning Development Department to the Detroit Land Bank. Their sole responsibility is to figure out a way to dispose
Of the property,
of
right.
residential only. Okay,
Okay.
and they also work on demo, and they have their auction, which they use to actually sell um, uh, uh, vacant vacant property. But if they were to cease to exist uh, down the road, if they were able to sell the property that they have, they, that would be a good thing, right? Because they're there simply to dispose of property. The Planning Development Department had much too much responsibility. They were the entity that held on to vacant property for many years,
Okay.
and this transition to the land bank now has given us an opportunity to really focus our energy on disposing of property, and that
Well,
includes demo.
Well, tell me this. Does the land bank committee have meetings for the public to participate?
Yeah, so there's a board. There's a board that is a public board, and
Okay.
city council actually went ahead and appointed with the mayor to members on that board, and so they do meet. And I will make sure to follow up with you
So
to
we can
figure
get
out when they
Right.
meet. But the committee that I chair on planning and
let people
economic
know.
development, we meet every Thursday at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And that's a great
Each
opportunity.
Thursday at 10 a.m.
It gives
13th floor?
correct. It gives
Okay.
it gives residents a great opportunity to come and to speak to council and share what's on their mind, particularly if even if it has something to do with something outside of the what's on the committee schedule that day. They can still come
Oh,
and
okay.
talk to us.
Well, you mentioned that the land bank only deals with residential property. Who deals with the commercial property that's abandoned and going to seed?
That would be a partnership between the Detroit Building Authority and Planning and Development Department.
Okay.
So the DBA and PNDD are responsible for commercial, and what I'm constantly fighting to make sure that we work diligently to try to get commercial retail spaces open for residents that have a service or product to sell.
Right. Do those two departments collaborate on a public meeting? The planning department and the building authority?
The building authority, I believe, does meet as well. They host meetings.
Yeah.
But
I've
like I said, a
attended
lot of
their
the work that goes on in this regard, specifically relating back to property disposition, and sale of property, a lot of that goes through my committee. When I say my committee, the committee that I happen to chair,
Okay.
which is the Planning and Economic Development Committee. We meet every Thursday at 10 a.m. And residents, please come out. Speak your mind and share your thoughts about how city council is doing.
We're going back to the phone line, but I do have one other question, and that's about the tax abatement for all these businesses that move in here. We're the ones in the residential areas still paying taxes, but the commercial properties are getting tax abatements for 15, 20 years. How's that coming? Have you stopped it or what?
Right. So there are certain industries I feel it's important that we take a look and say, how do we get companies to invest in Detroit? And is there something that we can do that will kind of push them our way to help us market the city of Detroit? And while these tax incentives have been beneficial, we have to sit there and really question, you know, does every single company that comes into the city of Detroit, you know, if it's a commercial, you know, rehabilitation exemption, you know, do they need, you know, the whole,
They
you know,
need
12
it.
years? Do they need the
Right.
whole, you know, when it comes to the NEZ, the neighborhood enterprise zone, do they need the whole 17-year abatement to really, you know, make the investment, you know, right? And you know, at times they haven't needed it, and when that's happened, you know, we've pulled back and we've said, you know, you don't get the whole term this time because you know, we crunched the numbers and the investment didn't necessarily make sense in that particular instance. But
Oh, that's good.
you know, sometimes when we have these discussions, we lose track of the fact that what we're doing is allowing, for instance, you know, if we provide a tax incentive for, you know, a new housing start, lofts, condos, you know, et cetera, in our downtown, typically those residents that move into that building will become new taxpayers of the city of Detroit, and the income tax, you know, is really where we're able
help.
to make up
Right.
for the tax incentive that we deliver.
That's good. Well, in the future, we're going to the phone line now. But in the future, if you give a 17-year tax abatement, there should be a what's it called, a caveat that
Clawback.
says this will be reviewed every 2 years or 3 years, and if they're doing well, you cut it. If they're not, then you continue to the
That's
17
right.
years. Who's
Like
on the
almost like a
line?
clawback provision. I support that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'll make that motion. Okay.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How are you viewing us? What city, please?
Hello, my name is Tawana Morris.
Thanks for
Good
calling.
morning, everyone.
Yes.
My question is concerning, I have two, concerning the clawback of the city employees and the retirees. It is a devastating hit. Has the city thought about or even considering restoring our benefits, restoring the monies that were lost? Secondly, you know, as you know, I've been campaigning throughout District 7. And some of the areas that I've been in are so heavily hit on Motor City Makeover Day. Everybody was planting flowers and cleaning up the community. And then in some areas, they were actually cutting trees off of houses, trees that fell on houses. Is there the Manor Block Club Association is a particular area and is very heavily struck, devastatingly. But most of those people are seniors, and I applaud them for actually getting out and doing that. Is there anything that you could do to help them? They've made several calls. They even made calls to your office. I don't know if you're aware of it, but they need help. And is there a number that they can call the DNR, the railroad company, about cleaning up that area?
Okay.
Great questions, Ms. Morris. Thank you so much for calling in. And we, you know, to address your first question, I think we have to do everything in our power to grow our budget, and you know that takes tax dollars. And I want to make sure that you know our pensioners, our retirees, those that helped us in this city, you know, build up such a great and strong city that at the end of the day, they deserve our respect and they deserve our support. And I'm working right now to figure out, you know, how do we, you know, figure out ways as we grow as a city that we don't forget those that helped us get there, and that you know those people are the pensioners. And you know, how do we figure out, you know, not just putting money into the pension fund, but you know, coming up with creative ideas, you know, to figure out, you know, how we give them what they owe. And part of that personally is me not accepting my you know, my increase. We had an opportunity to go before the salary, you know, commission, the compensation commission, to fight hard for a reinstatement of about 2%. and we got that increase. I am handing my increase over to to the pension fund. I'm working with the city law department to figure out when that becomes available in 2017, how I can shift all those resources to the pension trust. Because I just don't feel like at this very moment in time that city council needs that to focus on our own salaries.
I got you.
So I'm going to do that, and I want everybody to know that. While Brenda Jones, and I love her dearly, our president, she fought through, 3 or 4 different councils that took those pay cuts. So this is more of a reinstatement for us, but I'm donating my entire increase to the pension trust.
Well, that's commendable because the Wayne County Commissioners have just voted to give themselves a lifetime health insurance without considering the Wayne County employees. So that's commendable of our city councilmen to do something like that when they're not.
Well, and
Yeah.
I certainly wanted to address the caller's second point.
Go ahead.
And that was she was talking about the Motor City Makeover, which I think should happen out there every weekend. I mean, I think it's similar to the Angels Night. I feel like we need to figure out some programming dollars to figure out how do we go out there and make the Motor City Makeover happen every single weekend. And I've put certain cleanup projects together, on my own time and on my own dime, because we have to keep that momentum going.
Right.
Neighbors need help. They need resources. They need those big dumpsters. They need able-bodied, people, volunteers from the community and from outside to help, with this process. And so, Ms. Morris, specifically as it relates to the trees, you also mentioned the railroad tracks. I'm working with the railroad companies to try to figure out how do we work with the city to clean up some of those areas that we have around our railroad system, because that's a big place for illegal dumping.
Yes,
MDOT, which is responsible for those trunk lines, they should be responsible for cleaning up the dumping, because they're in this just as much as we are, in terms of the investment and so forth. And so I've certainly seen a lot of overgrowth and a lot of dumping around our railroad tracks, and we got to get creative about how we go and clean that up, and where the money comes from.
Right.
And so sometimes you don't get until you ask.
Well, the state has a surplus right now. At least that's what they claim.
Right.
So they
So
need to dip into that.
let's be creative about that. And Ms. Morris, my office is aware of the situation that you mentioned. I thank you again for calling that in, and we will be in touch to make sure that situation is addressed, because we have to do everything we can to make improvements in quality of life in our neighborhood, and that's what I'm committed to.
Okay. All right, next call.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name, how you're viewing us, what city, please? Hello, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning.
Your name and how you're viewing us?
My name is Shira. I'm watching you on the internet. I
Thank
have
you.
a comment and a question.
Yes.
My question pertaining to the land bank property. There's a home next door to me that's been empty for quite some time. It's a really nice brick home. And I've been cutting the grass because it looks so bad. And I'm a senior citizen on, limited income. I can't continue to cut that grass because I just retired last year. And I'm looking at it right now out my window. It looks terrible. In the backyard, the grass is so high, it's pushing up against my fence in the back. And if it pushes my fence out, I can't afford to replace that. So I guess my question is, what is the responsibility of the city or the land bank dealing with these properties that have been left empty?
Great question, caller. I thank you so much for this. And, we're really trying to figure out the funding. Right now the city is actually loaning the land bank money to have the land bank go out and conduct its work on the properties. Once they sell the properties, they're able to, pay us back. But the grass cutting is a serious issue. General services works with the land bank to go out and 3 times a year cut the grass based on the contracts that we've set up to do that kind of work. It should be happening more often, certainly. We have to figure out how to appropriately budget for that. But, ma'am, sometimes we got to realize, there are still upwards of 30,000 properties that are sitting there, waiting for either demo or to be purchased, so that a family can move in there. And what I'm fighting for is to make sure that these neighborhoods get the attention that they deserve. And what the land bank does have is an opportunity, so that if you're a block club, if you're a community group, and you want to purchase that home, certainly they figure out a way to give you a discount on that auction site. As a community partner, you can get a significant discount for purchasing that home. I'm not assuming that you're in any position to buy that home.
I'm definitely not, and I'm not interested.
I don't want to come across that way.
I just want to know, what can be done. The garage is falling down in the back. Rodents
Sure.
are there, and I have to live next door to this.
Right.
Some of the
And
biggest,
I don't have money
right.
to keep cleaning it up and taking care of it.
Right.
And I don't think it should be my responsibility
No,
to
it
do
shouldn't.
that.
No, it
That's why I
shouldn't.
called.
Yeah,
But
so
evidently you don't have an answer to it. So
well, I guess
I wanted
what
to
I'm
make my
saying,
comment,
I guess, is,
and that's dealing with the property taxes being decreased. There was a brother that advertised on this station. That's where I found him. And this is what he does for you. He goes downtown. He does the legwork and the paperwork, and it actually works. The only problem is you can only do this once in a month and only 2 weeks in that month, and that's the month of February. But he did actually have my taxes cut in half.
Wow.
And I'm so happy. I try to share this with everybody, especially those that are like me on a limited income or what have you. He actually, but the thing is, the more he does it, the more work they have him do. Every year when he approaches them, they put something else in the way that he has to do. More paperwork, spend more money. It's a shame. It's terrible. And
well,
I
I'm
want
glad
to love
that you have that story. I'm glad that you went out and fought for what you felt was right.
Who did you say assisted you with that?
Yes, he does that. He charges a fee, but he took it further than they wanted him to, because they were going to give me a small decrease. He said, no, we're going to take it to court.
Who is the person that you are referencing?
He had an advertisement on you guys on that station.
Okay.
That's how I found him, Mr. Powell.
Mr.
And
Paul,
he
you
does,
say?
He does it for you, and it's wonderful. I'm so happy to have, because
now,
I was paying taxes that people in the suburbs pay. And
excuse
I live
me.
just north of Brightmoor. Ha ha.
Now, I'm glad that you shared that, but there are other people tuned in. Do you have the person's name to share that with the
and
viewers?
his phone number. Let me get it. I'm getting it off my cell right now as I'm speaking to you.
And his
Just
name.
give me 1 minute.
Ms. Brown,
Yeah,
that's
go ahead.
exactly why these
Mr.
programs are so important.
Mr. Powell?
Let's see. Yeah, here, William Powell is his name.
Okay.
And his phone number is 313 717 42. I'm sorry. 313-717-4520.
4520. 717-4520. Okay. Thank you very much. Very much for that.
Sure.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How are you viewing us? What city, please?
I'm calling from Detroit. My name is Jackie, and I'm looking at Channel 33.
All right. Thank you for calling.
My question is this. I know that there's a Detroit home loan, and there's 0% interest on that for people that want to buy new homes, but there's nothing available as far as zero interest on property taxes that have accrued. Now, I understand if you go into a payment plan and your next year's taxes are not paid, or the current taxes, then what they'll do is increase your interest rate from 6% to whatever it was before.
18.
Now, I just want to know, why is it that you can find funds for new buyers rather than a 0% interest for people that have been here for years.
Okay. Well, that
Is
six
there any kind of a
18% is the
program? Is anybody
county,
talking about
Jackie.
that kind of a program?
Okay.
We have to do everything we can to make sure that we keep the investment in our residents that have stayed through the thick and the thin. And so,
And is that done by charging them 18% interest, 6%
Right.
interest?
Jackie,
when
that's the
others can
county.
come in and get it for
That's the county you're talking
well,
about.
but
go ahead.
we did certainly focus in on that. And what Miss Jackie
the
is
only
suggesting
focus that can really
is
help
that
people would be a zero
it's almost like a
interest
credit card,
loan
you
for
know, and
past
counties,
due taxes,
shouldn't have that
just like
opportunity.
a 0% loan for purchasing
Miss
a new
Jackie,
home.
what we
We know
did,
what you're talking
All
about.
of these
Hold on just
forums and all of that are not beneficial as far as I'm concerned.
right.
The
Hold
way
on and
to
listen to
end the problem
Jackie,
is
listen to the
0%
response.
interest on back taxes.
Right.
Thank you for
Listen.
your time.
Okay.
yeah, and so we focused in on that crisis because what we realized is that residents were not even able to pay the amount of their tax bill because they couldn't pay the interest. So they weren't even cutting into to what they owed.
Exactly, right.
And that's a serious problem. We went to Lansing last year and convinced all the county treasurers to come together to actually cut that interest rate down to 6%. So we capped it at 6% because it became unaffordable. And so that was a very, very good piece of state legislation.
Right.
And we need to stay on that. My understanding is that sunsets in a couple years.
Oh wow.
But the fact that we could get all the county treasurers together in one room and pass something statewide to really help residents in Detroit, is a true blessing. But additionally, residents unfortunately get into circumstances where they just don't reach out. They end up with that bill in the mail, and we don't hear from them, and we have to hear from them. That's why I took it upon my self to spend money to actually mail residents that I identified through the Wayne County tax system as being behind on their taxes. And the threat was real, where they could lose their home, due to the 2013 tax year.
Right.
I found out, who those people were. I found out their address, and I mailed them a letter inviting them to Wednesday's session because we have to get out there. We have to reach people. Sometimes, people don't want to reach out, and that's okay. We understand that.
Right.
But I wanted residents to know that I'm here for them, and I think that government has to be responsive.
And you're there for them on Wednesday. That would be May the 25th.
Correct.
5 p.m. Let's say 5 p.m. 5 p.m. 5 p.m. At 13660 Stansberry, correct?
Correct. 13660 Stansberry at Evangel Ministries.
It's
residents
right
will
by
be able
the
to,
second precinct.
exactly, and residents will be able to come out, get set up in payment plans, talk to tax experts. We have a lot of issues, and we want to let residents know that we're here to help.
Do they have to bring any papers with them?
It would be helpful for a deed. To bring a deed, to bring a license with you.
What kind of license?
Some kind of identification, some kind of an ID.
ID, okay.
If there's any opportunities, to bring some pictures of the property.
Okay.
That might help as well.
Okay.
And while we've had times in the past where we actually had the county show up with us, who could take that payment plan and do it on site.
Oh. That would be good.
That's not the case this time, but be prepared to get put into a payment plan in the very near future. And we have the tax experts like those from the United Community Housing Coalition that will get you set up and teach you about those programs. It's very empowering.
Okay, that's good. Wednesday, 13660 Stansberry off of Grand River near the 2nd Police Precinct. 13660 Stansberry. This Wednesday, May 25th, 5 p.m. Next caller.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name? How you're viewing us? What city, please?
Thomas, Detroit, Comcast, NBC 91.
Thanks for calling.
I am appalled that Hood Research would have this person on, giving him a platform to pretend like he cares about his district or Detroit. He doesn't even have an iPad or a pen and pencil, even acting like he's concerned about what people are talking about. Um, all the city council people and this so-called elected mayor are part of a group to dismantle Black Detroit, and they're doing a very, very good job. My question to him is, what Koch brothers entity ushered you into office in the Black district?
My question is, why did the black district vote him in if it's that serious?
Well, look,
You don't have to respond.
Miss Broden, there's a
Yes.
lot of passion out here, and you know, I felt inspired that I can make a difference. Young enough with the energy, and with the right ideas, bringing people together, building coalitions, trying to educate and act, and advocate for, for residents in my community. I've been involved in politics in this town for over 10 years of my life, and Detroiters are the most incredibly good-natured human beings that I have ever been involved with in my entire life. As I mentioned, I was born in the city, and my parents, brought me up, with the feeling that I am on this earth, to help people and to improve quality of life, and that's what I try to do every single day. And I have staff, answering those phones at 224-2151, because if we can affect our community and we can inspire each other, this city will get back to its greatness. It'll be a different, city, but we're getting better every single day, and I'm proud of some of the successes that we've had. We got a long way to go, but we're working together, and I'm just, I'm thankful for this opportunity. I'm thankful for the show.
Okay, the next question. Okay, it's 9:50. Okay, the next call.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name, how you're viewing us, and what city, please?
My name is Laverne, and
Okay.
I live in. I mean, I'm looking at you on watching you on Comcast 91.
Okay, you got a question?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Leland.
Mm-hmm.
Our neighborhood is terrible. I was at the meeting this past, I think it was Friday, or sitting on this past Saturday, and I was surprised he was not there, Mr. Leland. My question is directed to you. I live off on Castleton Street in Detroit, and it is horrible over here. We got abandoned houses, 10 and 12 of them. The street needs paving. We just got a lot of problems on the street, and we just want to see what can you do to help us, because we need help on the street.
Castleton, it's in your district. Thank you, Laverne.
And I was at that meeting, Mrs. Broden. I thought talk to you too.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for coming on Saturday. Yes.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I planned on joining, but my thing is that Mr. Lee is our representative for this area, and this is how we got abandoned places, all just where people just stole everything off the buildings and everything. It looks horrible over here.
Well,
We're off of Castleton and Schaefer, and I'd like to know what can he do to help us.
Okay.
Because we need help. We got about 12 abandoned houses on the
All
street.
right.
There's a lot of noise. I've been over here about 15, 16 years, and it's just terrible. The neighborhood has gotten so bad.
Okay. Well, Laverne, we're about to go off the air, but we're going to extend the invitation to Councilman Leland to have his staff to come over. He come over on Castleton to see for himself what needs to be done and work towards having those properties demolished to improve the quality of life on that street.
Thank you for your call.
Okay,
Could
one
you
other
tell
question.
us Castleton
I know you got to go
Street
off,
and what's the intersection right
Was
there?
it Laverne, the intersection, Castleton, and what?
Castleton and Schaefer.
Okay. Castleton and
Thanks
Schaefer.
for the call.
Okay. All right.
If I could just quickly respond, just on that last caller, she is participating in what she needs to do to be involved and to have her voice be heard.
Right.
Showing up to that meeting, that was very powerful. And my staff, Mr. Robinson,
He was there.
was at that meeting and addressed many concerns
Right.
on that day.
Did.
But again, you took it upon yourself to call into the show today, and certainly, I take it from the approach of, we need residents out there, holding our feet to the fire to make sure that we are doing everything we can to help improve the quality of life in the neighborhood. And so
Right. Okay.
certainly I will, follow up and see what we can do, looking at, potential road funding because
Right.
DPW gets about $40 million a year to use on roads improvement here in the city of Detroit through the Act
Okay.
51 funding.
No, we
And
got.
the housing and the blight is a concern all over the city, but certainly Castleton is a beautiful street, and we need to figure out ways to continue to bring solid funding to
All
to
right.
areas of the city that have
Okay.
serious potential.
It's
Caller,
10
thank you
o'clock.
for the call.
All right. It is 10 o'clock. And those who are on the line, hold on. We'll take you after we get off the air. I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. And as I say, it's not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We encourage you to join Hood Research as we seek out as much information as we can to help us all make better informed decisions. Thabiti.
If you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished.
Thanks for tuning in. Tune in again next week. Peace.